so some years ago, I just thought, hey, global warming isn't really that big of a deal. They're talking about 1 or 2 degrees, stuff like this. That's not a big deal. I'm here in Germany, whatever. If it's warming up a little bit, it's quite cold here in winter, and then really, who cares? But I was looking a little bit more in detail into the whole thing, and then I found, it's not going to be only much worse, it's really going to be really bad. Bad and worse. That's what the title of this video. So let's go through the things one by one. First of all, let's say there is the lag effect of CO2. What we do means it's like when you have what we do right now, we put CO2 in the air. It's going to warm up the whole planet, not only for decades, for centuries. So it's like, if you know what a central heating system is, or your car is really hot, take the central heating. Your whole house is completely cold because you have been there away for some weeks or months. It's completely cold. Now you come back, you put the heater on full blast, and it takes maybe hours, days, maybe a week that your house is coming to temperature. I've tried this. Really, trust me, I've done that. It was like we were sleeping in sleeping bags because it was so cold. I just turned off all the heaters for several weeks, and then I went away, and it was really cold when I came back. So the lag effect, that's one thing. So the next thing is that people are talking about the 1.5 or 2 degree warming thing, which is like utter BS in my point of view. New studies are showing that, first of all, we are not on track for these 1.5 or 2 degree things. It's utter nonsense even talking about this. So new studies are showing this, that we are going in the direction of 3 degree global warming with the amount of CO2 we are currently always putting out. And there's no change in that. So the new predictions, like for Boston Consulting, and we have all the links in the description here. So in the comments, you find the Reddit link to the whole thing. So 3 degrees. So it's not 1.5. It's not 2, it's about 3 degrees. So that's one thing. Then, hey, the land is heating up much faster than the whole globe, and that means like the water isn't heating up that fast. There's lots of water. The planet is 70% water or so. So the continents are warming up much faster. That means like in Germany, when we have like a certain warming, that warming in Germany is nearly double that. So there's like one thing from the Deutscher Wetterdienst, it's like, they measured global warming is like this over that time frame, and in Germany it's practically double. So if we get like 3 degree global warming, in Germany that would mean around 6 degrees of temperature warming for us. So next thing. And then the problem of the probabilities. All these kind of predictions are coming in models, and they give predictions. And the problem about this, there's also a curve here. It means like there's a certain probability. There's like the highest probability. It's a probability distribution. You really like statistics if you understand what I'm talking about right now. But it's a probability distribution. There's like, let's say the 50% point, which I usually take. But then there's the whole thing of there's other models and other runs of these simulations showing, there's going to be much higher values. So if you want to be like 95% sure what value will not be exceeded, again, it's nearly doubling that. So if you want to, like 3 degrees is a prediction for Germany with a 50% probability. If you want to have like you want to be 95% sure, you are somewhere around 6 degrees warming. Yeah? So that means it's going to be 6 degrees or less with a 95% probability. So again here you see, that's much warmer. And then again on the landmass it's going to be even higher. So a scenario of 6 degrees global warming means for like a country like Germany, probably something like 10. They don't even calculate these things anymore. Yeah? So, and then the biggest problem really, if there's all these predictions and they are calculating, we always use the time frame 2100, which is like completely out of the air. It's just like a century, the end of the century. But the warming doesn't stop there. So, it's not like, we just do 2 degrees global warming, which is like their target. But hey, that thing is going on for 200-300 years more. It's going to get warmer and warmer and warmer, even if we just completely stop putting CO2 out in the air. So it's again there, some on top, in the long run. So, because it's just a very short time frame from now on, 75 years until the end of the century. But really, how much is global warming in the end in a stabilized edition of this amount of CO2? Oh, much higher! Yeah, really! Okay. So, that's what else do we have? So, let's say, I just had to scroll here a little bit about this article on Reddit. So, 2100, very artificial kind of ending. Yeah? And some people even make scenarios where they say, oh, we are like putting out CO2 until 2100, and then suddenly they think it stops. This is like, oof. No? There are these scenarios where we are emitting until the year 2100 or close to that, and then it's really low, and then you can say, okay, we assume that we don't emit anywhere. But there are other scenarios which are the more likely ones that, oh, we are still emitting quite a lot of stuff in the year 2100. Huh? And then how this is going on. When do we ever stop to do that? With the current way we are walking on. Okay, so that's one thing. That's like all these scenarios is, yeah, good. So then we have like it's tipping points and these kind of things. I don't even want to talk about the tipping points because it's like, hey, all the stuff I've told you so far, I don't have to go into tipping points that we see is going to be really bad. So then, if we are like right now, we are talking about the measured, and the scientists agree that we have like 1.5 degrees of global warming achieved so far. And already we see all kinds of stuff going on in the whole world, that the weather becomes more extreme. What do you imagine if we are going to a scenario where we have like 6 degrees warming? Like in 100 years, for example, we have like a global warming of 5 to 6 degrees. This is like 4 times what we have so far. You see that it's going to be much more extreme then, like the whole thing changing? Yeah, good. And the human cost of this will be staggering because there's like some stuff out there which are predicting how many, how are these areas warming up, and what we have now, let's say, only in Middle East. And I've been living in Abu Dhabi in areas. Yeah? I've been living 2 years in Abu Dhabi. I know how hot it is if you have 50 degrees in the shade and there is no shade. Yeah? So, like example, you are getting into your car and the car is super hot, like an oven, and you turn on the AC and the AC works for like half an hour to get the car to an acceptable temperature. Yeah? So, these kind of things. So, and politics. Well, a lot of people are just saying, hey, politics are going to save us. Well, this is just what I say is politics is talking about CO2 for the last 30 years. There have been conferences and nothing really happens on a global scale. Because if you look at the global scale, we just emit more and more CO2 and nothing really changes. Of course, some countries or some areas like the European Union have done a lot already to like put wind turbines, solar power, reduce coal plants and so on. So they have done already something. But on a global scale, it didn't really matter. No, there is no result. On the global scale on production of CO2 is linear going up, and we see like the CO2 concentration in the air going up all the time. And we see the results, like the temperatures are shooting up at the same time. So politics, you can forget them. Why? Because the job of a politician is to get re-elected. You see this with President Trump right now. He just completely ignores global warming because he wants to get re-elected, which probably he is not, but at least he wants to have his party being re-elected. So a party wants to be re-elected, a government wants to be elected, politicians wants to be re-elected, and doing something now for CO2 with drastic measures for something which is going to happen or might be happening then in the future, like in 30, 40, 50 years, is like a little bit incomprehensible for the population and so on. So they're not doing it. They're like hoping that this is going to go away. So, and now the bad news is it's not going to stop by itself. First of all, some people think, and this was like a story. There is no oil anymore. We just go on and then the oil is gone. No. there are studies out there how much fossil fuel is actually available to us, known resources, sort of, and we just like burn only a little percentage of this. So there is like so much fossil fuels, oil, gas, coal available, and we are just talking about the known resources, and then they have like different, I just researched a study today which said, we have like nearly 4,777 gigatons of CO2 are available with the sure kind of resources we have already. And these are the ones where we are absolutely certain, sort of really certain that they are there and we can exploit them. But then there's more technology, better technology, we are finding more, and then there's like all these other ones which we don't know to exploit so yet. So the available amount of fossil fuels is not going to stop. No, we have so much we can shoot the atmosphere back into like really hundreds of millions of years ago. With CO2 levels, it's easily, we can make like 2,000 ppm of, that's easily done. Because we have so much of this stuff what we could burn. So it's not going to stop by itself. And the other thing is, hey, welcome to the new world that there are people, that the whole world is finding new ways of burning energy. One example is Bitcoin. We have like something which is just using up 20 nuclear power stations or more every year, just to do calculations, which in the end, just burning up energy. Or, hey, AI data centers, a new thing. We find lots and lots of energy that these things are terribly energy hungry. We are finding new ways of just burning away the energy. So AI data centers AI is a thing for everything. So like AI data centers are becoming bigger. So people are going to use up the energy. And then there's billions of people who also want to have the living standard as, let's say, in the global north. So just believing that, the world is going to transition by itself from, we are just installing solar power all over the place and then it's going away by itself. No, not happening. We are just finding more and more ways to get up and soak up all this energy. And it's a multi-billion dollar euro business. Do you think these producers of CO2 would actually be stopping, the fossil fuel producers are actually stopping to produce just because, everybody would be doing? No, it's such a big business. That's like the thing, if people are driving electric cars, the price for the fuel is going to be decreasing a little bit. And then there are more people saying, I'm still going for the cheaper option. So it's not going to go away by itself. And now the killer phrase is like this. Politics had the chance to stop this, even 30 years ago, because it's really simple. The most simple solution to solve the problem of global warming is to get the fossil fuel producing nations together to decide, we are just going to reduce our production, let's say linearly, over the next 30 years. Every country is just reducing their production over a certain time frame, and then we are nearly zero in let's say 30 years. The world knows, we tell them every year we are reducing by this. You have to cope and, install the new technology, problem solved. It's that simple. Just 30 countries or so have to agree on something. But is this ever going to happen? Probably not. Because it's not like governments work. So politics had the chance. If you rely on politics doing the job, no, they're not going to do it. We had this when the war broke out, and suddenly we had fuel prices here of €2 in Germany and exceeding €2. Everybody was screaming, we have to give, the fuel prices were increasing, and then everybody was screaming, we have to give the people, something back and reduce the fuel prices somehow. Because, hey, we are in Germany, driving a car is a right here. We have the Autobahn and things, and now the fuel price is 165 or so. So the difference isn't really that great, but it's we have more than €2, yeah? And we have to do something because everybody is everything is so bad. No, that's one of the solutions that we want to, in our project, increase the fuel prices. Why? Because that's the only way we have to like increase the fuel prices and stop the production of fossil fuels. So, because we can still do something like increase the fuel prices. That's part of our project, is we can do something. We have to increase fuel prices and reduce the availability of these fuels. And thus, the other stuff becomes more attractive. Then we really have to do something about getting the CO2 out of the atmosphere again, and like do something about food and diet, reforestation. So these are like the three main areas how on a global scale we can do something. And that's like part of our project. Thank you very much for watching. Please follow the channel.